Divinity Original Sin 2. I almost said Divinity 2 again.
Don't say that.
Yep.
That's another game.
Yeah, Divinity Original Sin 2 from Larian Studios over in Belgium. The Belgian studio from Belgium. Also, one of the writers on the team is Kevin Van Ord, formerly before Pete Brown was reviewed here at GameSpot for how many years? Not 12? I don't know. It was a long time. So he worked on it, but Jean-Luc, you and I have been playing it. Rob, you've been kind of watching over our shoulders because of all the weird shit we're doing in that game.
You're just wearing a bucket.
I really like that game. Yeah, so I played a little bit of the first one, and I liked it a lot, but I never got into it because it was so dense. This one's even
more dense.
But somehow it's not overwhelming me yet because I've put maybe 8 hours into it, and I'm still in the first area. I know Dave Jewett over in our UK office spent like 16 hours.
That was a cool character. Yeah. That looked so sick. That
lizard.
They are cool.
Man. The customization.
Yeah, you can be
awesome.
a skeleton.
So
man.
I
would want to be a lizard. That's
Wait, I want to be a skeleton.
It's very cool, but it makes the game a little harder because you have to cover up your face, or most people will run from you.
So that's
how I
so
stand.
yesterday it was so funny. He's wearing, I'm like, what? You know, Mike looking over his shoulder, like, why are you wearing a bucket? And he's like, so he's in the menu inventory, which is like full HUD, just like we can vaguely, there's a little bit less of an opacity, so you can kind of see this kid he was talking to. Mike goes to like remove the bucket, kid immediately just starts running away. Just like imagine that in real life. Like, why are you wearing that bucket?
Yeah. So, Jean-Luc, you were saying so you could play co-op in this game, which is amazing because it's already.
It is
dense as hell, deep as hell. The emergent situations that come out of like that, figuring out how you can combine attacks and elemental stuff, but also just how you can combine characters in your party. Like sometimes you'll go up to this one character that this lizard companion that you have has beef with, and then he'll go up and talk to him and be like, yeah, go talk to him. I'll catch up with him later, and his attitude towards you will increase because if their attitude decreases too much towards you, they'll just leave the party forever. I have not seen that, but that can happen. And the lizard hates me, so I'm like, yes, please go talk to him. I don't want to lose you. You're my best fighter. But also, then a different character will go up and talk to that same character. She'll be like, I got to talk to him too. And all of a sudden, she'll be like, and it's like text from the narrator, be like, she promptly put a needle in his stomach and made him stare at his own guts on the floor.
The narrator's really good. So here's a great example of co-op.
It's very funny.
This is me playing co-op with Ben, Jinka, and my brother. And this is one of the party members you can get. And I basically like was talking to him and saying like, hey, I really want to get you as a party member. We basically sealed the deal. All of a sudden, the dialogue box just booted me out. And Ben had like just taken a shell. You can pick up objects and just throw them. And he threw a shell at the dude. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, you have dishonored me. Yeah. And then we just suddenly got into a fight with him.
Yeah.
And we basically were just like, so he won't join our party anymore. We have to murder him now. Should we reload? Should we like start over? And we were thinking about it. We're just like, you know what? No, we're gonna stick with this, and we're just gonna kill this guy.
Yeah, this game is
this is me like debating. Like, I have a save. We can load.
Yeah, you can just F5 at any time, and it'll save it really fast.
There's
F6
I'm like almost did it, and we're like,
there's something to be said about like just hearing that. Like, as funny as it sounds, like when you think of like a classic like squad or buddy Trek adventure movie, like there's always that one shady character who's always screwing up everything.
It's the heist thing. It's like, you don't trust this guy. Someone vouches for him. Yeah,
he's weird. He's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And throwing shells at people.
The way
That's
the game
playing
is
with
designed,
Ben Jink experience.
It's really easy to do that.
I love that.
Like you can
kill
just
someone.
you can accidentally just piss off anyone and murder anyone.
Like completely 180, right? Like,
yeah. 100%.
Mike, you had said another really funny thing while
Sorry,
playing.
speaking of Michael Madsen and Mr. Blonde being that last minute psycho.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He's just gonna cut someone's ear off.
What was I talking about?
You were playing and you go, whoops, I just accidentally killed her. And apparently you were like addressing a woman who had like her throat.
Well, she was bleeding out from this story point that I won't spoil, and I was pressing a cloth to her neck and trying to save her.
Like rapidly tapping
Chris, who works here, walked over behind us, and we were talking about it. And I was kind of listening to your conversation, like a work-related one, but also playing. And I honestly think my finger just spazzed out, and I clicked through 2 dialogue options instead of 1, and the next one was aligned with my mouse, and it just said "slit her throat," and it's like she just died.
Whoa.
But like you said, Jean-Luc, it's one of those games where like the best part of this game is just rolling with your choices, kind of like Echo. It's all coming back now, but it's like I was like, I could load a save, but I also kind of like the idea that my character literally just accidentally killed her.
Right.
You
It
could,
might not be in character, but I'm also kind of like, well, we'll figure out who my character is as I go.
you could argue that you mercy killed her. She was already bleeding out.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're just a klutz and you're like trying to get your like bandage out and just drop the dagger.
That was what the option said. It said you decide to finish her quick and give her like solace or something. And I was like, I probably could have saved her if I really put my mind to it. But I was busy.
So
AKA, you're kind of a dick.
Whatever.
No, as a prompt, sorry. It's just like, otherwise known as you're a dick and you just killed her.
I do have a question. So I didn't play the first one, and I'm a little intimidated to jump in. Can I just play it? Do I have to know anything about?
No, not at all. There's
Yeah, you can just jump in.
yeah, you can just jump right in.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are-
Just clarifying what he's responding to.
I said no.
What about
No,
what,
don't
what,
play it,
about me?
Kelly.
What about me? What about me? Can I just jump in?
yeah, you can play Rob.
So the
Sick.
thing is, like I mentioned earlier, a few reviews are saying this is like one of the best like isometric, very like traditional PC RPGs in a long time.
Definitely.
Like people always reference Baldur's Gate 2 as one of those like great ones, and
we getting a lot of those recently.
Yeah.
You know, what was it? A Planescape Torment.
that
I was
was
gonna
way
say
more.
Planescape.
You're right for sure. I played that, and that was way more all mostly based on like text and.
That's a
narrative.
very text-heavy game. Yeah.
And the combat was few and far between. This game, you can just fight with anybody at any time. Not that you need combat for a good game like this, but that kind of feeds into your character and stuff.
Well, this game, the combat is really rad because it like plays into this like experimental like kind of like elements combo stuff. So you get, you know, there's basic stuff like, okay, I'm gonna lay down oil and then I'm gonna shoot it with a fire arrow and it's gonna spread fire everywhere. But then you get like weird stuff where it's like, okay, I just killed that man and a pool of blood has now like spilled on the ground and I can electrify it. And now there's electric blood that'll like zap anyone who has steps
Electric
in it.
Blood
Yes.
is my band name.
Dang it.
Also, undead characters, if you try to use a regular healing potion, it'll hurt you.
It'll hurt them.
And a lot of food does too. And I still have not figured out which food, because sometimes food heals me, sometimes it does
It's
not.
like, I think it's like rotten food probably.
I was gonna say
No,
rotten
no, no.
food.
I just picked up an apple and I ate
Oh,
it and it
that's
hurt
fine.
me. And then I picked up cheese and it hurt.
Dude, you
or no,
better-
it worked.
I pray you have more stories of just like you're trying to like pretend you're like
About to die, be like,
human.
fuck.
No, no.
Looking at this wheel of cheese, be like, no,
no,
fucking
worse.
Russian roulette. Pull the
No.
trigger, Mike.
Worse, where it's like you're like there's like some quest you're doing where it's like come into my house, like young man, like take off the bucket. No, okay.
Putting stuffing.
It is an honor in this household that you
Stuffing-
eat this bread,
stuffing
or else
meat
I
up
will
in
have to
my
kill
face.
you. You're just like
It's like hurting you. You're like, oh.
It's either take off the bucket or eat this dark meat, man. No, but also poison heals undead characters.
Right.
You have to use poison. So one of the characters, she is an elf, I believe, with a scar on her cheek. She an elf.
Yeah.
She has this ability. She could just throw these poison flasks. So someone, or maybe she had one equipped, but she came up next to me in a fight. Like you see a bunch of characters grouped up here, and I have two undead characters because my main character is undead, but you also get another companion. And we were really low in health, so I had her throw the poison like bomb essentially at us. So it killed the person next to us, but gave us
you
both
just
like 50
ran right
HP.
in.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I picture that scenario where you're like, I need healing, and she just like throws like a dagger in your back, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Oh, much better.
quick
Ideal.
cyanide me.
Ideal.
Quick, throw some cyanide in my face.
Here's some
feels
Kool-Aid.
good, man.
Thanks.
Drink this Kool-Aid. Also,
weird.
This situation was actually kind of cool. So I picked one of the origin characters. So you have you can make your own custom character, but you can also pick an origin character which has like its own specific backstory that actually can then like play into the narrative. And my character's backstory, because I heard like that's if you want like that's maybe a good way to start is just kind of like pick an origin character because you get that extra narrative. My character has like a voice inside their head that like possesses them and tells them to do stuff. So I met
like
this
schizophrenia?
like a demon, like a literal demon.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
More literal.
Okay.
And I like met this woman who's like a seer, and she's like, oh, like you got this like demon inside you, and my character's like, how did you know that? She's like, yeah, like it's really angry, and like, do you want to know more about it? Because I know some stuff, because like I can see the future, and you're like, please tell me. And then the demon like took over my body, and like I started attacking her, and it's like now I'm in combat, and so I had to. They're like, okay, the only way to get either I have to murder this woman. Or
fuck, I want to play this game right now.
or I have to get my character down to a certain amount of health to like knock me out of the trance. So I had to have all my other companions like attack me. So I have like all my companions like shooting me in the face with bows.
That is awesome.
It's such a like a
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons ish kind of like you really start developing a character like through your abilities and stuff, but also through the choices you're making that kind of tie into. It's so great at. I'm already loving that aspect of it, but it's also very much like. This is another kind of funny thing that happened that I don't think I told everybody because it was embarrassing. That whole you're in a prison. Like I think most of the gameplay we're seeing right now, you're on this island. It's called Fort Joy. It's a
like
great
the first
name.
area.
But you're essentially trying to figure out how to get out of there, and then it's so great at like giving each character a motivation to get out of there. He'll be like, I need to go see this person about regaining my throne because I'm this exiled prince, and then this girl will be like, I need to find this area. Apparently there's this safe spot, and then but also how you're getting out. A lot of each of the companions will kind of have, or you'll just stumble upon strategies. Like I stumbled into this area by playing hide and seek with this kid. And then I came upon this like 1,000-year-old this 1,000-year-old knight with a spear through his chest that had petrified him, but he was also an undead character. So my dialogue options when I pulled the spear out of his chest and he came back to life, kind of undead life, he's like, "Oh, thank you, you're one of my kin, and I appreciate it." But then that gave me a way out because he's like, "Here's a map. You can go to this part you can sneak in by pressing this button on this statue in the courtyard." Right. But then there's another point where going back to that, many lizards are seers. Is it only lizards are seers?
No, that elf is a seer.
Oh, okay.
Too, so.
But they're seers. They can essentially they're kind of like Bran from Game of Thrones or something. They can see stuff. But so she killed him because she had beef with him. She just slit open his stomach. I was like, oh great. I hope I don't need him. And I went over to talk to someone else, and he's like, apparently there's a lizard seer nearby that could help you get out of the prison. You're like, fuck. And he's dead with his intestines hanging out around him. But
is there anyone else?
Yeah. Are you a seer by any chance? Oh man, it's really fun so far, and I want to play more co-op. Ron, we should start a game.
The co-op
really
is
wanna
Yeah, that sounds up my alley.
it kind of changes the way it reminds me of like playing an actual D&D campaign where you know, you're like, okay guys, this is what we need to do, but everyone kind of has their own like objective or what they want to do. So you can split up. So my brother was playing a skeleton. We couldn't figure out that he needed to like put like a bucket on his head or whatever. So every time you would try to walk into like the area, everyone would immediately like murder all of us. So we're like, okay, you need to go hang out in the woods. No. And we're going to go do the quest. And then eventually he's like, all right, I found a hood. I'll wear that. And we're like, all right, cool. You can come in now.
He's the Charlie Kelly of your party.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
What are you wearing bushes for here?
Oh, that is the stealth. You can stealth. So I was stealthing up to these enemies. And then my character gets extra damage when I'm on a high place.
Are you a rogue?
So yeah, I'm a
ranger.
A ranger.
Yeah,
I'm a ranger.
yeah, I was
so
gonna do
I
that.
got up to the high ledge, and then Ben moved this barrel over to where they were, and then I shot it to start the fight, and then set that giant crocodile on fire.
Is it like? I mean, this is probably a dumb question, but is it like? Did you find it detrimental at all? Like
Playing co-op?
Well, no. As far as some of these characters, like I can't stop thinking about the one you were describing, where like you literally weren't able to control your character because the demon was controlling. Like
Well,
I don't know if I would
very-
want you on my team.
That's
Like,
very story specific.
sorry, I can't do it. Sorry, I'm killing you. I can't do anything about it.
I mean,
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
Well, playing co-op, you get into these weird things where just you know, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go do this quest, and you're like, yeah, I went and like stole a bunch of shit, and then you can like mess with people where you can be like, hey man, check out this sick sword I bought. I want you to have it. And you're like, oh thanks. And it's like totally stolen. And then like a guard will come up to you and be like, you stole that? I'm gonna put you in prison now. And then you're in prison, but he's fine. Or you can take a health potion, or you can get a poison potion, dye it red, and it looks like a health potion. You can give it to your buddy and be like, hey man, have a potion.
Or conversely, maybe dye some potion green and give it to an undead character.
Dead guy.
Here's some poison.
Here's some poison, man. It'll help you out.
Guess what? I love poison.
So you can like, I imagine to a certain degree, like the game. You could just spend hours just like messing with your friends.
Well,
right?
I feel like there's so many opportunities to like really roll a 1 on any encounter, just like totally mess it up,
Right.
and screw up, and then you have to roll with it. Like the idea of like, oh, I just have to wait till my friends can lower my health so the demon escapes me. Just like,
or yeah, it's like I was talking with that guy and having a very nice conversation, and then my friend just goes up and throws a shell at his face. You
Yeah.
have to kill him.
I mean, it's
That's
hard
the
to
D&D spirit.
it's hard to say. Like, I would encourage everyone, if you're into like RPGs, absolutely play this game. If
Definitely.
you have a PC, play this game. And I know like the gameplay you're seeing, it is very, very dense to
Yeah.
say the least. Menu wise, possibility wise, emergent gameplay wise, but you should definitely try to play. I can't remember the last time I played a game where I was less prone to like reloading a save.
Right.
I'm like, I'm gonna roll with this choice. This will make it interesting somehow. She killed our only way out of prison, so maybe I'll just be here for another 20 hours and I'll still find shit to do.
I will say you'll probably have a little better time if you play it single player in terms of just like traditional video game. Like, you know, you can read all the dialogue and kind of have, you know, options with quests. Like when you're playing co-op, everyone has conversations separately and you can listen in, but you could also like completely miss a conversation because your friend like went off and talked to another person and you don't know what that conversation was. So there's a reliance on like talking with them, or when like he talked to this person, activate this quest. If I go talk to them, they don't know who I am. So like it's like, oh, you have to talk to this person now because you have that built-in relationship with that character. So that can get like
I
a
like
bit,
that though. That
no,
sounds
it's cool, but it can get kind of hard to manage. And like we hit a point where we're like,
just
okay.
yelling at Ben Jenka. Just
Well, it was like an hour where we're just like, okay, what should we do? And we're all like, well, I have this quest, and it's like, well, I have these 3 quests, and we just like had no idea what to do. And like it's a game that is so dense that you can get lost, and it just becomes like even harder when you have like a bunch of people who want to do stuff. But so you have to kind of like let go the fact that like maybe you're not going to get that much accomplished if you're playing by yourself. But on the reverse end, like the satisfaction of playing with people and like that role-playing experience is like really, really cool.
Yeah, I would definitely say you'll understand the systems and mechanics at play better if you maybe play like 8 to 10 hours of single player, and that's really nothing in this game.
Although
but
you certainly learn stuff together. Like that's how we're like, oh guys, I found out that, you know, poison hurts me and it's or healing hurts me, like stuff like that. Just like, all right, cool. Like,
guys, guess what? Poison hurts.
I mean, like
Get off the team.
like Rob and Callie, as people who have both, like many people, played a lot of Breath of the Wild, it reminds me nothing at all like Breath of the Wild, but in the sense that there's a ton to do, but somehow they make it so it's not overwhelming, so you don't mind that you're missing out on a lot of stuff because you're still doing a bunch of these cool things that other people probably didn't see.
I think the best way to design something like that is to just make it like, just follow what you think is interesting.
Yeah.
And then you're not missing out.
Totally.
The
Just
story
do-
is yours.
And the writing's fantastic. I'm not just saying that
It's
because
really good. It's all
Kevin
voiced
Van
too,
Ord.
which
Yeah.
really, really helps.
It's funny, like as hell at some parts, especially
awesome.
seeing all this stuff like kind of interact. My character is I'm a polymorph, so I can turn into like he like specializes in 2-handed weapons right now, but you can turn into like a spectral bull with horns and then ram people, or turn your arm into like an octopus tentacle that stuns people. It's really fun so far.
It's like so
Excellent.
much stuff. Like
that's-
elves in this game can eat body parts to like relive memories.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're an elf, so an elf like those crocodiles, like we found a corpse litter by and like our
Arm in
elf
the
character
crocodile?
ate it, and we just
Sorry.
was I saying it wrong?
No, I said crocodile.
And it's just like the last moments of this guy who got like eaten by a crocodile, and like him being like, "Nah, I didn't think it'd go out this way, huh?" Like got eaten by this
Yeah.
crocodile. But then you actually can get like cool. You can like learn like how to do something. Like, oh, we killed that guy, but I eat him, and I gained the information that he had, and we can solve it that way.
And then later you meet a guy with one arm. He's like, hey, have you seen my arm anywhere? And you're like, I ate it.
Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of ate
Yeah.
it.
So I actually have like a bunch of like severed heads in my like
I have
inventory right now.
I have
And,
several
like,
limbs.
occasionally I'm just like, hey, let's just have my elf eat it and see what we learn.
I have
I'm
several.
gonna have my elf eat it.
Hey, come check out my heads.
Yep, I have a few separate limbs in my backpack right now.
So, co-op wise, it's 4-player co-op,
Up to 4.
up to 4, and that's it. It's anything like down the road. This game seems like it's like
No, so
There's an arena mode for PvP stuff yet.
So-
Is that out yet?
Yes, that is. I believe that's out, and there's also that Dungeons and Dragons mode that we did a while before.
I was kind of alluding to. That thing
Right.
was really neat to do.
So
or
that's in the
watch.
game. That's
What-
crazy. Essentially, you
Like,
can
what is it?
make your own custom like campaign.
Oh, cool.
And it was
So it's
really
like
neat.
assisted DMing.
So you have
Yeah.
you have everyone play the party, and then you have a 5th person play the DM, and
Yeah.
they can create the map ahead of time, and they can also at any point pause the game and then like change things around. They can type in dialogue, like they can completely control it, and they actually have a really good like tutorial area they play, which is one of like the D&D like starter quests as like an example of like here's how to do it.
Oh,
and
that's
like
so
really really
cool.
rad. And they're essentially like you can create your own campaigns, and the game also has really good mod support for just all sorts of things. But you can download other people's like campaigns and play them.
And then like DM it yourself.
And DM it
That
yourself.
is so
It
cool.
was
really cool.
It was surprisingly, for me at least, as someone who doesn't know D&D that well at all, it was surprisingly engaging and entertaining to watch. It was Justin, Jean-Luc, and Michael Hyam who played, and Justin was this like, what was his character? His background was like
a Southern Belle.
Justin
this
Halo?
Southern, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Literally,
he DMs in real life all the time.
He's doing this role playing. Oh, hello, good sir. He went up to this like, it was like some goblin in a cave.
Like rolled a 20.
Rolled a 20, and like the DM from Divinity was just like, oh my god. He's like.
So
he's
he had
like,
to, like,
I live
think
for
about
this.
it, yeah.
It was incredible. So
I woke up today praying for this shit.
so the goblin basically was like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and was mesmerized by Justin, and like the goblin led him through the cave, past all these enemies to the end where they met like the Goblin King or whatever it was, and the guy was like, "I don't know it." He's like, Justin says like that he knows you guys, and he's like, "I don't know this guy." Literally, yeah, we met. Justin tried to use his like good looks one more time, and the goblin was just like, bang, just one hit kill, and then they like lost. Basically, it was so.
It's like that's the
freaking
thing
funny.
with Dungeons and Dragons has always had a one-up over video games in that there's like unlimited amount of options you can do, right? And video games have always
Imagination-wise.
been
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
And the single player in this game feels like they're trying to push it to its absolute limits, where it has almost that like Breath of the Wild like, oh, could I try that? Like, oh wow, that actually does
Yeah.
work. Like they thought of so many things, but it still is at the end of the day a video game that is limited. And that DM mode is like just completely. It gives you the tools to do
Right.
whatever you want and have
totally
that
breaks it
imagination.
open.
Yeah.
And
It's
then you have
fascinating.
like this visual element that you can play with. It's really really cool.
I've not seen many limitations yet at all in
Yeah.
my like 8 hours.
Yeah,
or so.
yeah. Just the single player alone, it's insane what they can
Yeah.
offer.
It's on PC. And
Yeah,
anything
so the
else?
firone came out on Xbox One. I think Maximum Games ported it about a
They
year
eventually-
after.
yes.
There's no word on that yet.
Yeah, you had a tweet about that. Someone was asking about.
Yeah,
if they're
we
gonna
have a
put out
question we'll bring up right now. If Richard, you don't mind bringing it up. So I apologize if I'm butchering this name. Tarek Ramchani on Twitter was saying, any idea about the release date of Divinity Original Sin 2 on consoles? The first Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition worked really great on PS4.
So I don't know when it's coming out, but when they put out the enhanced edition, they, in addition to adding a bunch of extra stuff, they put out like controller support, which was actually like, and it changes all the menus and it works really well. And it also had like split screen, so you could do like couch co-op,
Oh, cool.
which was really really fun. That stuff is
with this game.
with this game.
That sounds
Yeah.
pretty intensive as far as like what your HUD would look like, or
well,
is it simplified?
so you could set it.
the
You could say
Switch?
like, oh, we can't. It'll be one screen that we're shared, or it would like split it, or you could set it so it would like dynamically split.
or you just
It was
lose some HUD elements or something like
loose-
that.
yeah, so it was pretty well done, and this game has it built in by default. I got to have some footage of me just like with the controller support. Like they have it built into the PC version from the get-go.
So it's a possible port for sure.
I think they're definitely
Yeah.
going to do it. I don't know when, but I imagine it will not be as long as the first game because they already have that mechanic like
Neat.
built in. Like, yeah,
Oh,
here's the
right.
controller support. It's like they changes the menus, but it's very like intuitive and easy to do.
Nice.
Yeah, so this
Cool.
game was in early access for I think the majority of 2017. It wasn't the full game; it was a big chunk of it, but now it's out on PC. $60 full price from Larian Studios over in Belgium. Congratulations to them; they made a game that has me hooked, and I am looking forward to playing it more. And
yeah,
Jeez.
I want to play it right now. I'm like
It's-
ready to go.
it's fantastic.
It's dense.
I like
really
it a lot.
dense.
Yeah.
I want to be a skeleton.
Oh, it's fun because between the poison and the way people react to you, and like characters keep saying like one of my dialogue options is undead because you do tags, right? Character tags. So I picked like I'm an outlaw, I'm an undead like race, but I'm also my class combat class is the polymorph or polymorph, I think. And like you'll have different obviously dialogue options. This is nothing new, but it's funny. My undead one is almost always tell them that you're undead. Because I have a bucket on my head. All right, I have a bucket because I haven't found a better helmet.
This is always an option.
So it's just like, but they decide to join my quest. like, because you have to convince them. Some characters are easier than others.
Probably
But
like let them know, right?
should I tell them that I'm just a skeleton?
So something about the real world application of that, just like hearing it and being like, "You're what?"
Yeah.
Tell them
and they're
you're
like
undead.
reviled. They're kind of like there's very like much a prejudice against undead characters in this world.
I would think so.
And there's this
And-
item you can get where you can any corpse you can like steal their face and
Yeah.
like wear it as well.
That's
so
what
you
I
can like
mentioned
change your
during Death
Yeah,
Sector.
I think people are kind of upset with that.
Lots
Yeah.
of face stealing
But
this
so
week.
at any point you can like change your race too, which like because the game actually does have like race politics, like people in certain quests like will treat you differently because they're like,
If
oh,
you're a
I hate
lizard or
I hate
whatever.
elves or something, and so it's like, oh, this guy only talks to lizards. Let me go find a lizard and kill him and steal his face, and then I'll go talk to this person, and they'll be more friendly with me.
See, undead seems like the only option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Callie, your skin is hanging off your bones.
No, so one of the characters, she, what's her name? It's the elf that we just saw with the scar on her cheek, and she, like in the dialogue options, she apparently has this needle. Like, do you ever see Kiss of the Dragon with Jet Li and who else is in that? There's a few people, but the Kiss of the Dragon is this one spot on the back of his neck where he'd put a needle and you just paralyze and bleed everywhere. So she essentially has this needle she puts in people to like stun them, and it's like she's pressing against it, and then I told her, no, listen, it was the best thing ever. She's like standing next to me. She's like, one more inch and I could kill you in the most painful way possible. And then meanwhile, I'm just like, it doesn't hurt me. But then no. So then I convince her to join my quest. She's very like distrusting of me. And then after that, I was like, by the way, I'm undead. She's like, yeah, I know. I didn't feel skin at all when I was pressing the needle in. She's like, I'm not an idiot. I was like, all right.
One more hit.
I can't believe like they wrote so much dialogue.
It's
insane.
that's like half the brilliance of this game. I can't imagine how many words of dialogue they had to write for every possible situation. It seems like astronomical. I can't imagine another game that compares.
It's like a million words apparently.
Like compared to like if you compare Skyrim to this, it must dwarf Skyrim. It's insane.